The Baltimore Ravens have some major news to talk about today. Let's jump right into it. Now, the first thing that I want to bring up is Brent Urban. Yes, the legend of Ravens Wired, absolute fan favorite, team favorite, locker room favorite, sideline buddy with Michael Pierce favorite, is back with the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is a really good move. I just feel like Brent Urban is the exact veteran presence that this defensive line does need because on the interior, we really don't have a lot of guys with experience in this group, or experience being in this group. Obviously, John Jenkins is an NFL veteran, but Brent Urban has been with the Baltimore Ravens organization off and on for a better part of his career. It is his second stint, but the last 3 or 4 years he's been here, he's been the known, wink, wink, cut, resign for the Baltimore Ravens. I expect that probably will happen again this year. But Brent Urban is a really good signing. I do like that move. I don't want to dwell too much on that because I do think he's a good player. He did switch his number to 58, which is the number Michael Pierce wore. Obviously, his very good friend that he sat with on the sideline in many of those Ravens Wired episodes. The next thing I want to talk about is the Ravens signed Dearness Johnson, the running back most known for his time with the Cleveland Browns. I think Dearness Johnson is actually a really solid running back. I think he low-key deserves like a roster spot in the NFL. He's a solid player. Now, this is not a signing for him to make the 53-man roster. This is a signing for the Baltimore Ravens to have training camp and preseason game running backs. The Ravens play a game this Thursday, right? That's, I think, 5 days from now, which is incredible. I can't wait. Live stream will happen before the game and after to recap it. Going to be very exciting. But, overall, the Baltimore Ravens, they've got a good system for signing these veteran players right before preseason. Most NFL teams do it. That's kind of what I expect this Ernest Johnson move to be. But the biggest move of the day was they cut John Hoyland. John Hoyland was the rookie kicker that was battling with Tyler Loop. And as of right now, Tyler Loop is the only kicker on the Baltimore Ravens roster. That is big news. Now, there's question marks as to whether or not he's won the job. I don't think he necessarily has won the job as it sits right now. John Harbaugh talked about it in his press conference, basically saying like, hey, yeah, he's been doing really good, but preseason's ultimately going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not he is our kicker. And there has been news about the Ravens possibly keeping open a reunion with Justin Tucker. Obviously, he is going to be serving a suspension, but if Tyler Loop ends up winning the job and he's struggling this year and Justin Tucker's suspension, gets over with, there is possibility for Justin Tucker to come back to the Baltimore Ravens. I don't necessarily want that to happen. I want to give Tyler Loop a chance, but if we're sitting there and it's, week 8 and Tyler Loop is hitting 63% of his field goals, okay, maybe it's time to make a change. But as it looks through training camp, Tyler Loop has been pretty good. He's had a really good training camp, and we're going to obviously see what happens in the preseason, which the Ravens for some reason are pretty good at. We're going to see how he does. I assume they give him a couple of difficult kicks. I'd assume they try a 50-plus yard field goal with him, maybe even a 60-yard field goal with him, just for the heck of it, just to see how he's going to do in those situations. And then kind of the final thing that I wanted to touch on is Jair Alexander had another great practice today. Lamar Jackson ended up throwing, I believe, 3 interceptions, which is very unlike Lamar Jackson. If you know about Lamar Jackson's second highest touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history, trailing only Aaron Rodgers. But he throws interceptions to star players typically when it does happen. And Jair Alexander got 2 on him today, and Nate Wiggins got the other. I know Wiggins came in a deep route covering Rashad Bateman, but this is something that gets me a lot of excitement. When you have, interceptions at practice, it's a debate. Oh, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? When Lamar Jackson is throwing interceptions at practice, I think it's a terrific thing because Lamar Jackson doesn't have an interception problem in games. Okay, he takes care of the football when throwing very, very well. He does have a little bit of a fumbling issue, but that's besides the point. He doesn't throw interceptions in games, right? He had 4 interceptions last year. I'm not worried about him, but I am worried about this Ravens defense enforcing turnovers, especially against quarterbacks that don't turn the ball over in the air. And Lamar Jackson is the best at it. Maybe arguably, him and Aaron Rodgers are the 2 best, which again, like I said, 2 highest touchdown to interception ratios in NFL history. Patrick Mahomes is 3rd on that list. If we can get interceptions on Lamar, we can get interceptions on anybody. That's the type of excitement that I have. And Jair Alexander is a star player, and getting him, having that excitement, having the defense rally around him, having the young guys learn from him. Nate Wiggins had a press conference today, and he was talking about how great Jair is and how he's a one-on-one player. Jair Alexander is helping this team. He's doing the things that he needs to do, and the Baltimore Ravens are the better team for it. Very excited, obviously for this upcoming Thursday game against the Colts, especially because I feel like we'll actually see Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, because that is an actual quarterback battle that's happening this year, whether you believe it or not. Kind of wild, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys like these kind of just, daily update videos. Obviously, typically when there's real news to talk about, or not that this isn't real news, but pressing topics and things like that, Joshua and I do talk about it in the podcast. Joshua is sick right now, which is why we haven't recorded a podcast yet this week, and why he wasn't on the live stream. Otherwise, he would have been there last night. So let us know what topics you want us to cover in the next podcast episode. Live stream will happen before and after the game on Thursday. And let me know your thoughts on all these moves. D'Ernest Johnson, Brent Urban, Jair playing well. And Tyler Loop's the only kicker left on the Ravens roster. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow.